Thanks for that intro. Now I'm a little bit more nervous than I should have been. Okay, anyway, thanks to the Pecha Kucha team for calling me back. I have no idea why, but you've decided. Anyway, so my topic is, why do cars look the way they do? In front of you here, you see a car. 4 wheels, 4 doors, 4 seats, maybe 5. Okay, so what you may say? Well, this is what the design team, this was the old design team. So the company hired a new design team and they came up with this. It's the same car, same company, same price. But what's happened? How did you get from that car to this one? More importantly, now before I start, can I have a raise of hands of those people who like this car, who find this car attractive in any way? Not a lot of you. Okay. So anyway, so why does it look like that? I mean, look at the headlights, look at the grille and the proportions. Why? What were they thinking when they decided that this was the result? So how did we get from that, sorry excuse for a car, to this, a very nice excuse for spending money? That's what I want to talk about today. What's the thought process from there to this? So eventually when this slide changes, no, there you go. I control it, see? So over here you see a collection of animals. As you can see, all these animals are a little bit irritated, or maybe hungry, or probably both. But there is something else that's going on. Can you spot it? There's something else unique. How about now? Consider them as not as creatures per se, but as shapes. And as you can see, there are some similarities. Despite the fact that all these animals come from different species, they kind of look the same. It's like they have a design language or something. And the same theory is applied in entertainment design. What? Okay. So yes, even Hollywood uses the same principle of sort of natural design language. And the same thing, obviously, we apply in the automotive world. This is a Dodge Charger. Now, obviously, you don't know what that is. So forget about that. But I don't need to tell you that this car is powerful or aggressive. You already know that, just by looking at it. So it's that sort of natural design language that we also incorporate. And yes, we have happy cars as well. And I only did this because my sister loves Hello Kitty. So she said, please have some babies in Hello Kitty. So I said, fine. So now I'm not saying that these cars were inspired by babies in Hello Kitty, but you sort of get the idea. They evoke the same emotional response. That's kind of the idea. So here we have a couple of paintings. So what do you need to do this? Obviously, you need a canvas, you need brushes, you need paint, you need imagination. Sometimes even mental illness helps a bit. It does, it really does. So what about us? What do we car designers use? What is our canvas? Our canvas is actually metal, but our paint and brush is light. Any surface that points towards a source of light is brighter than a surface that points away against it. Yeah, common sense, yeah? But what we do is that we manipulate the metal in such a way to create a pattern. That's what you see here. And by manipulating the pattern in a certain way, we can bring out some sort of shape or dynamic movement. Now, here's the amazing part. This car is functional. All the surfacing you see in the intakes is real. This is an actual production, actual racing car. That's amazing. I blew my mind. So any architects around here would know what this is. For those of you who don't know, on the left-hand side, these are basically two architectural techniques. On the left, you have something called Art Deco. On the right is sort of a minimalist kind of approach by Mies van der Rohe. Google it. It's a long story. But what they've done is that a car company called Cadillac, owned by GM, have actually used both these architectural styles in their cars. Have a look at the graphics. They use the grille. I'm sorry, I'm confusing the two. The grille has the same visual pattern as Art Deco. But if you turn those cars around, it's a completely different story. It's the exact opposite. It's completely flat. it looks as if it's stretched over a piece of some sort of structure. There's no movement or bouncy surfaces or anything. It's just flat. So car companies actually use two different forms of architecture in one car. And the same thing applies to all the cars that you see on the road today, including these ones. Now, it would take me several Pecha Kuchas to explain all of them. It would actually take me 3 to explain just the BMW. Really, it's that complicated. But in any case, this is the kind of thought process that goes into surfacing. Now, also, if you're an architect, you know what this is. For those of you who don't know, I'm referring to the golden ratio. What is the golden ratio? In complete layman's terms, if something fits this ratio, it's considered aesthetically pleasing. Now, obviously, that also connected to the car industry. As you can see with this very haphazard selection of lines, I do apologize. I got really carried away with this. But you can clearly see that even though it doesn't matter whether it's an SUV or a sports car, it does actually correspond to the golden ratio. We use it. Now, we don't use it exclusively. It's not like we have a grid when we put it on, we design it. But it's used as a rough guide. So going back to our original Kia that we talked about, now you can sort of see why it looks like that. You can see, well, you may not know exactly why, because you don't know, obviously, the inspiration behind it. But you kind of can see, okay, well, it was not designed just like that. There was a very deep, intensive thought process behind it. And this is a quote which I always keep in my head, that sculpture should always give the impression, whether carved or modeled, of having grown organically, created from pressure within. And yes, I did spell pressure wrong. Thank you.